To anybody out there who feels bullied or if you got kids that are being, like, harassed, it makes you stronger. It makes you like iron.
Welcome to Gettin Grilled. I'm Jordan Stratton, and today we're serving up Jennifer Hale. She's a prolific performer known best for voice acting roles, and there are a lot. If you're into animated television, you'll recognize her in Spider-Man, Powerpuff Girls, Scooby-Doo, Star Wars Clone Wars. The list goes on. And if you're into video games, you've definitely heard her in titles like Mass Effect, Overwatch, Halo, BioShock Infinite, Knights of the Old Republic, Marvel's Avengers, Guild Wars. She literally holds the world record for the most female video game voices, people. So I could sit here and just spend an hour reading through her IMDb page, but let's get grilling instead.
Welcome to the show, Jennifer Hale.
Thank you, Jordan. It's a joy to be here.
I do want to start out a little bit more on the parenting side of things,
Oh, yes.
on the family side of things. Now that you've been in this industry for a few years, I'm curious, what roles do your parents play?
I was fed and alive.
That's a good start.
I have a collection of parents. My mom was married and divorced 5 times before she left the building, so I have a group.
Oh, you got a whole community.
It was actually my first boyfriend's mom who played the biggest role. She was like a second mom to me. She helped me so much just as a human. And she opened the door to me getting my first acting job 40 years ago this spring. And they paid me, I don't remember if it was $30 or $35, but I was still a teenager in high school and I was like, wait, what?
Oh, man.
So I started cold calling ad agencies and put my hair up in a bun and so that's how I started. Yeah.
I love that. So you had this kind of, like we said, a community of adults, maybe not necessarily.
No, they were sort of one at a times, you know.
One at a,
Yeah.
in and out, revolving door.
Yep.
Now, were the arts and performing, was that something that was encouraged? I mean, especially
Yeah.
in certain areas, that's not something that is really cherished as compared to other places.
Yeah, that was one of the things my mom got right, which is
Huh.
regular school kicked my backside. I think I was born with a bullseye on the back of my head. Regular school though, high school, that would have been excruciating. So my mom got this right. She found there was a fine arts high school. I memorized my monologue the night before while my mom was visiting some friends at a bar. I was in the car in the parking lot memorizing my monologue for my audition the next morning at 9 for the fine arts school.
Oh my God.
And it was from the skin of our teeth, and the irony is I got in by the skin of my teeth.
Perfect. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned before, you quite literally have hundreds of acting credits under your belt. But I want to focus a little bit on possibly the most iconic role, that being Mass Effect's Femme Chef.
Oh.
I'd be remiss to skip over her. So can you talk a little bit about the process for embodying that character?
Like most of the other jobs, it was an audition, and I did the audition. And then, like we used to do back in the day, there was a callback in person. And I don't know if people realize out there that voice directors are key.
Tell me about it.
They're the ones who craft the flavor of modern pop culture, because modern pop culture is taking its cues off of games and gaming now. So I went into that audition, and the prototype they used, they had a male prototype and a female prototype, and then the writing. And for me, it comes out of the writing. Like, I'll use those prototypes for flavor and sense and as a quick key point, but then I take that prototype as just like, okay, this is the kind of universe and vibe I'm living in. You know, are we talking Tom and Jerry? Are we talking, Han Solo? Or what are we talking? So that kind of placed me in the universe. And then the writing was so good. And it was so clear. And I just drop in and I feed my soul through that mic. And if my soul fits the salad, that's beautiful. And if it doesn't, they know what my soul is when they're making the next salad.
Talk a little bit about your relationship with writers and their words on the page or on the screen in front of you when you're working. How much leeway do you get as a performer to improvise, and how much does that depend on the project?
It depends completely on the project. I will tell you because especially with Mass Effect, it took a minute to figure out, like, okay, there's 2 of us doing the same thing? What's that mean? You can't change a word. You can't change a piece of punctuation, and you can't change timing. It's very restrictive in that way, but you have to make it come alive and be of your own soul within that box, and that's where the skill comes in, right? That piece of the skill. That being said, on something like BioShock Infinite, Oliver and I recorded at the same time with a glass partition between us so we could see each other and we could hear each other through the cans, and we could improvise and we could play off each other, and we'd go through and Ken Levine would have us, we'd capture what was written, and then he would be like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's play with it. Let's have, and it was like, it was dream time.
That's
all
great.
Of it,
yeah, playground.
It was joyful. I was just like, whoa, yeah.
People often express, as I've watched some of your interviews, and like I said, I studied you a little bit.
No.
Don't make it creepy. Don't make it weird. A lot of people express a desire to pursue a career in voice acting, but a lot of people don't have a lot of actual tangible knowledge about it, and they have no idea where to start. So let's use, say, me as an example.
Shameless plug. Honest to God, go to skillshub.life. Acting.skillshub.life. I'm not kidding you. Join the site. There's a whole section of internal members-only podcasts called A Minute With, where you've got working voice actors talking about how they did it, what they wish they knew, what they wish they'd do differently, what they'd tell you now, all that for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. You've got casting directors and voice directors talking about, well, this is how I listen to an audition for 10 seconds. This keeps me listening. This has me stop listening. I wish actors would do this. I wish they knew that. You got buckets of that.
I love examples.
Yeah, and we've got a whole forum there. Like, we built this thing out and we continue to expand it. That's the thing. We put in a new feature yesterday based on, user feedback. We're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll make that. Train your voice, your actual physical instrument. Even if you're not a singer, take classical or Broadway belt singing training because it builds a nice, strong instrument for you. Take improv, get out there and fall on your face, because most of the job in gaming is cold reading. If you're not willing to make a mistake and look bad, that's the job. You're not gonna go far, and you're sure not gonna have a good time.
I'm gonna wrap up this little segment with one more little question. You can be as in-depth as you want or as brief as you want, but do you relate more to Renegade FemShep or Paragon FemShep?
Paragon is who I wish I was. Renegade is what I would like to say.
We like to wrap things up with little grill talk, whether that's talking about your favorite recipes or your favorite grilling equipment or your favorite approach to that type of cooking. I want to know anything and everything you love about grilling, and even if you don't like it, let me know.
So here's the greatest thing. I am your biggest grilling disappointment. I'm not any good at grilling. Yes, it is me. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm the one. I don't actually own a grill right now, but I have a question for you. So what kind of grill should I get?
That's hard. I mean, first you got to go with the basics of, are you going with charcoal? Are you going with gas?
Natural gas.
Natural gas. All right, you might get some judgment for that. Well, I'm not going to name brands because I could get in trouble. I will say, if you're worried about having enough space, definitely go with something that has a lid that has that second tier. I've never had this question turned around on me. This is a day of first, Jennifer.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you for that. I have loved this interview. This has been a joy.
Me too.
You are truly, like I said before, the gold standard in this profession, and just a wonderful person.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much for your time and willing to do this.
Thank you. And thank you everybody out there for playing and watching and being part of the community. And remember, what you do matters and who you are matters. And thank you every day for that.